Okay, so welcome to today's webinar, which is a sneak peek into Grandstream's upcoming products for Q2 and Q3 2020. A little bit about Grandstream. Some of you will have seen this before, some of you won't, but just to give you a quick background, founded in 2002. We have in excess of 600 employees globally. Our product portfolio contains in excess of 40 products across categories such as business conferencing, IP phones, gateways and ATAs, which is where we came from. It's where we initially started our business. Networking devices, which is our Wi-Fi, surveillance and facility access systems, and then obviously our award-winning range of IP PBXs. Primarily, we've served into the small to medium-sized businesses and consumer markets. You'll start to see some of the products that we are going to be offering. We'll be moving up into the larger businesses and starting to touch into the lower end of the enterprise market. As a company, we're headquartered in Boston, so we're a US-based company. We have other offices in LA and Dallas. In China, we have Hangzhou, Shenzhen, and some warehousing in Hong Kong. In Morocco is where we run our support center for EMEA. In Venezuela, we run our support center for Latin America. The Netherlands, we run warehousing, and in Kuala Lumpur, we run support for APAC. Quick one I've been throwing in here recently, and it's very appropriate at these times. The Grandstream mission is we believe in connecting the world. We believe that every business, large or small, should have the tools to communicate from anywhere on any device. And then, of course, we design the products that make this belief become a reality. So what we'll kick off with first here today is our UCM series, our newer series of UCMs, so the 6300 series. So the 6300 series is designed for powerful and scalable unified communications. It's an easy to manage platform with the same zero licensing fees that everyone's been used to with our 6200 and 6500 series of PBXs. They allow businesses to unify all their communication technologies into the one centralized network, including things such as voice, video, data, mobility, intercoms, facility access, and more. So you can start to see why we have such a diverse portfolio range. One thing I will point out, so that we don't get questions all the way through about this, the 6200 series of PBXs and also the 6500 PBXs will still be staying in our range as well. So these are an additional series of PBXs. So some of the basic features. As we can see here, we're moving up into a larger number of users. So we're starting to move up to be able to support up to 6,000 users and up to 400 concurrent calls. This is what I'm saying. We're starting to move up into the larger businesses and the smaller enterprises now. We're moving right up into that space. They will still support zero config provisioning of Grandstream endpoints that people are used to with our current 6200 and 6500 series of PBXs. We will have an API available for third-party integrations like CRMs, property management systems, and the likes. And then obviously we'll still have all the traditional telephony features, so call parking, forwarding, transferring, IVRs, the multi-level IVRs, the music on hold, the call routing, the ring groups, etc., etc. This gives everyone a little bit of an idea of the capability and breakdown between the models. So there'll be 4 models, 6301, 6302, 6304, and 6308. So as we've gone with the other series, the difference will be in the FXO ports. 6301 will have 1, 6302 will have 2, 6304 will have 4, and the 6308 will have 8. And what we're also doing is we're mirroring that with the FXS ports. As we can see here, we have voice conference bridge attendees for all of them, ranging from 15 attendees up to 500. Video conferencing bridge comes into all of them except the 6301. So we're starting. What you'll find is the 6300 series will focus a lot more on the SFU functionality or the bridging functionality for video conferences in the Asterisk platform that we're based on in the back end. And then obviously we have concurrent calls ranging from 25 up to 500. So some of the more advanced features that we'll see in this. So we'll have a built-in collaboration server. So conferencing server will be built into the PBX. It will support things such as conferencing, chats, screen sharing, whiteboarding, recording, and support for Grandstream Wave. They will also be supported by GDMS, our cloud management and provisioning platform. This will be further through the year as we do an upgrade to GDMS. Probably I'd say somewhere around about late Q3, early Q4 that will happen. So it will allow for cloud setup and configuration of the entire communication network. So not only will we be able to do the devices, such as the phones, we'll then be able to do the ATAs. We'll then be able to do any gateways that are in the network. We'll then be able to do the PBXs. We'll be able to have the whole lot remotely configured and managed through a cloud-based platform. So that will provide a truly turnkey, unified collaboration solution. And obviously, it will allow people to be able to monitor and troubleshoot from the cloud. So I guess what it will start to let people do is it'll be a little bit like a hybrid model, I suppose. So you'll be able to put the physical box on the customer site, but you'll be able to manage it remotely as if it's a cloud extension that that person's on. So a little bit of the best of both worlds. So because the box is on site, you'll be able to put some redundancy in if people wish for it, but you'll still be able to manage it remotely and not necessarily have to head to site every time that there is an issue. And some of the other features. So the inbound call efficiency. So we'll have a 5-level IVR and a multi-language auto attendant. We're expanding the call center suite and call traffic queue management. There'll be full band Opus wide codec support, which is where we're getting asked a lot more for now. A lot of people are starting to move into, and a lot of the telcos and the likes are moving into everything has to be Opus based before they'll look at it. And obviously the jitter resilience will allow for anything up to about 50% packet loss. Oh, we'll duck back for a second. One thing that we will also be having on the 6300 series of UCMs is we will also have a desktop or a PC-based version of GS Wave, which is our soft client. We'll actually have a client for that will be able to run actually on the desktop. So be able to provision, for want of a better term, a soft phone client on a computer, and people will be able to use it purely as a soft phone endpoint. So that will be available on the 6300 series. It will not be backwards compatible. That particular feature will not be backwards compatible with the 6200 or the 6500 series of PBXs. Next, we'll move across into a little bit of a refresh of our cameras. I know there's been some questions asked about these over the last probably 6 months or so, what was happening with our cameras. We've gone down the road of we were getting rid of cameras. We have actually had a change of direction, and we are going back into cameras. We're starting off with 2 models initially. So this is all about revitalizing our series of SIP-based IP cameras. So they are SIP-based, which makes them quite unique within the industry because you're treating them just as a SIP video endpoint. And it also expands our facility management solutions, which you'll start to see why as we go into the coming slides. So I'll have 2 models. We'll have a GSC 3610 and a GSC 3615. So the 2 devices both offer weatherproof casings. They've both got wide angle monitoring, and they can integrate with Grandstream endpoints and facility management systems, or because they are a SIP-based IP camera, you're obviously free to utilize them with any other platform that you wish as well. From a recording perspective, it'll be as an ONVIF compliant NVR that you would use for them. We won't be producing our own NVRs for them. We're just basing them on the ONVIF standards so that you will be able to source your own ONVIF compliant NVR for the recording of the feeds from these cameras. So some of the basic features of them, they're IP66 weatherproof casing for outdoor deployments. They've got infrared technology for optimal white balance and exposure, obviously for night or low light situations. They'll support alert notifications via outbound voice or video call, and can also email screenshots taken by that camera. They have two streams. So the primary stream is 1920 by 1080, and the secondary stream is 640 by 480. And they will also have SIP and VoIP support for video and audio streaming to endpoints. So where we see these types of devices is, yes, you could use them as a camera for facility monitoring and the likes, but because they're a SIP video endpoint, you could actually utilize them as part of an endpoint that's dialed into as part of a video conference, for example, through IP video talk and the likes. And what that will actually allow you to do is to view a site remotely as one of the feeds into that video conference. So there are other uses outside of purely using them just as for example, like a security camera. You can actually use them as part of your video communications solutions. Or they can be an additional camera in a room where if you need more than one camera to be taking video streams as part of a video conference, you could utilize them as an additional camera for that. So as I said, they're ONVIF compliant. We have GSurf Pro, which is our free video management software. We've always had that. That's still available. They're ONVIF compliant video management systems, so you can utilize any ONVIF compliant NPR. As we get closer to launch, I'm sure we'll have some suggested models around that. And then obviously we can pair them with our video phones, so our GXV Android range of phones, and then also our GSC 3570 intercom and facility control station, which we'll all touch on to in this presentation as well today. So that's another expansion that we're moving across into. So we have two models. One is a dome ceiling mount, and the other one is a bullet wall mount. Other than that, they're the same, just two different casing versions depending on what the specific needs that someone may have. Now we'll move across into the GSC 3570. So this is a new category or a new venture for us as a vendor. So it further expands our facility management solutions. It's a powerful intercom and facility control station. It's designed to provide a dedicated device to manage facility communications, door access, physical security, and more. So some basic features of it. It's a 7-inch screen, 1024 by 600 capacity touchscreen. It's a dual band 802.11 Wi-Fi and PoE network connection. So we have two Ethernet ports on there, plus we also have Wi-Fi built into it. We have full duplex 2-way HD audio and also advanced echo cancellation. And we have 4 alarm input ports and 1 alarm output port. So it's allowing us to bring all of that together in one simple interface screen. So as an example here, we can have it connected to one of our GDS door intercoms so that we can view the video from the door intercom. We can have a live video preview. We can then answer the call. We only have one-way video, so we can receive video on the screen. We can't transmit video from it. But it does have speakerphone built into it, so we can have a voice conversation back to the GDS door intercom. Once we've verified the person at the door and we've determined that we wish to let them into the facility, we can then hit the button to open or grant access, and then that will send the DTMF codes to allow the electronic door lock to open. So essentially, what this will do is, for people in the past, what they may have used is one of our GDS door intercoms and one of our GXV Android video phones to allow for the video to come from the door intercom and be able to manage that prior to letting someone into the facility. This particular device will allow people to do that functionality in that basic format, but at a lower cost. So this is based on a Linux platform, so the cost factor is lower. We don't have the 2-way video, so obviously we've taken that functionality out. Because if we're using it purely with a door intercom, 2-way video is not required. We can also use it as part of a paging system because we have that inbuilt 2-way speakerphone in there. We can also utilize it purely as a phone if we need to be able to make paging calls to anyone within the facility, be it on a desk-based phone, be it on a Wi-Fi cordless phone as we've got showing there, or be it through one of our GSC 3505 or GSC 3510 SIP-based speakers. So we're starting to tie all of this functionality in through that one interface screen. So it can either be wall mounted or there will be a desktop mount coming for it as well. So if it's sitting on a reception desk, for example, it can just be sitting there on a desktop mount and have that functionality to be able to provide all of that information and all of that access just in a single point in a single location. Or we can also use it for facility monitoring, because we can also take the SIP camera feeds into that as well. So we can actually utilize it as a screen to be able to monitor the cameras and be able to touch on those cameras and jump to the particular video feed that's coming out of them, so that we can have all that functionality sitting at our fingertips. So we're starting to get towards a little bit like a master control panel, where we can manage things such as we can make calls, we can monitor cameras, we can monitor alarms, we can see the call history, we can see messaging, we can, as we've said there, we can see the time, the weather, all these sorts of things. We can have all that pushed to the end device as well. Now we'll jump across into our video conferencing offering. So this is one of the new products that we'll have coming, which is the GVC 3212. It is a HD video conferencing device. It is designed as a affordable, from my perspective, I would say it's an affordable entry-level device. So it's a compact and affordable device that is designed for desktop mounting. So where this is designed for is mounting on top of a monitor or a TV in your office. It is designed for smaller spaces. It has microphones and such in there, but it is only designed for about a 3-meter radius pickup. So it's designed for a much smaller area than our current GVC 3210 endpoint. This conferencing device pairs with Grandstream's IP video talk platform and the meeting plans, and it has to be used with the IP video talk platform. That is what it's designed for. It will not have the open ability to be able to download apps or anything for it. It is designed purely as an IP video talk endpoint. But it enables users to create a virtual conference and meeting space with ease. It's an all-in-one device. You plug it in, you put in your credentials for the IP video talk plan, and off you go. You're ready to go and be up and running. Now, IP video talk, just as a side note, we're actually utilizing that today. That's what you've all logged in on. We're just using it in a webinar-only mode, but it also has a video conferencing side to it, which allows you to hold video conferences or web meetings. As you've seen today, people just click on a link, they dial in from any device they've got. They don't need to make any specific downloads. It's WebRTC based, so it is secure from endpoint to endpoint, and very easy, very simple for people to actually join from. So the bridge, or the IP video talk platform that this is used with, the web address for that is just ipvideotalk.com. If you go to that website, you can see the list of all the current plans and all their current inclusions as well. So some of the basic features of this particular device: it's got a megapixel camera, it's integrated dual band Wi-Fi, it's got dual microphones with noise cancelling, as I said, for about a 3-meter pickup distance. So designed for individual offices where you might have 2 or 3 people maybe sitting around a desk, perfect for those environments. And for sitting on top of say a computer monitor or a TV in that office, it doesn't have the inbuilt camera functionality. It will also support both Miracast and AirPlay for wireless content sharing. So that way we don't need to be connecting cables into it. So we'll be able to do the content sharing from our computer without having to connect additional cables into it. So some of the deployment scenarios. So we have an entry-level video conferencing, and then we can also do it as a mobile and remote video conferencing. So it's designed for either entry-level video conferencing in the office, or if you've got people working from home, you can actually provide them with a dedicated video conferencing endpoint that is not specific on an operating system. It's not needing specific updates done to operating systems or anything like that. It is designed purely just as a video conferencing endpoint. Then we move into the next model, the GVC 3220, which is another HD video conferencing device. This particular one here is a full video conferencing system and platform. It brings a new level of video collaboration to our video conferencing solutions. This particular model here is going to be running Android 9. It has support for up to 4 external 1080p webcams for expanding the video feed coverage. So we can add additional cameras into it, and then we can be expanding how much video we are capturing and sending down to people at the other end. So we have the ability to run multiple cameras. It supports external Bluetooth or 2.4 gig microphones, so Wi-Fi microphones, and it also has a built-in speaker, although you can use the HDMI to use the speaker on the screen or the TV that it's connected to. It will support 4K full HD video and up to 5-way 1080p video conferencing. So it has its own bridging functionality built within the device. It'll support dual band Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5, and it has a 12 times zoom and pan tilt functionality in there. And we also have some AI facial recognition to identify and focus in on speakers, which we're building into the technology as well, so that it will start to focus on who's speaking, and it will start to do some facial recognition and the likes. Now, to complement these two devices, so this is a new offering again for us, the GMD 1208. So it's a desktop wireless microphone. Affectionately, I think it's been referred to as the hockey puck. So it's a round device, a little bit like a flat hockey puck. It is a microphone device which is designed not only for Grandstream audio and video conferencing products. It can be utilized with anything else, because as we get through some of the other specs, you'll start to see why. But when it's paired with a conferencing device, say either a speakerphone or one of the GVC video conferencing devices, it extends the pickup distance and increases the overall coverage range of the total solution that you've delivered to the customer. So some of the basic features. So it has a proprietary 2.4G and BLE dual mode. So what it means is you can connect it with other devices via Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but it also has a proprietary connection in there to do some smart connecting with Grandstream devices, a little bit like pairing, say, Apple AirPods with an iPhone. It has a capacitive touch on the top to be able to touch to mute, and obviously we've got the LED indicator there, which we can see, which will allow us to see whether we're muted or unmuted, so it'll be green or red. And then we also have a battery gauge on there as well, because it is a wireless design. It has its own charging station and it has its own built-in battery for it. So it is a totally wireless solution that you can just spread down the desk. You can daisy chain 2 of these, connecting back to the GVC or the GAC conferencing devices. And then we have obviously 8 omnidirectional mics and around about a 26-foot pickup range. So quite a large pickup range. We've got multiple devices, multiple microphones in there, which allows us to ensure optimal pickup, but also to do some noise cancellation in there as well. GWN Manager. Most of you, I'm sure, will have probably, if you haven't, I would suggest you do, but most of you have probably seen GWN Cloud, which is our management platform that's hosted in the cloud for our access points. GWN Manager is a software-based version of that, which allows people to install it on their own server within their own environment, have the functionality that they would normally have with GWN Cloud, but be able to keep it within their own private network and keep it off the cloud. So some of the basic features are it's a centralized management of both sites and access points. So you can run multiple sites within your own network and obviously multiple access points. You can have configuration templates that can be pushed out to specific APs or to sites. You can create customized capture portals. You can run maintenance features such as ping, traceroute, capture, backups, all this sort of functionality. You can do all of that. It is a free download of software. So we won't be providing the server for this, but there will be specific specifications of what the server should be to be able to run this particular piece of software at its optimum state. So centralized Wi-Fi management, complete scalability of the Wi-Fi solution. It allows people to grow as they need to, and they can have full network monitoring and reporting. So as you see there, we can start to see stats straight away of what's going on within the network by logging into the dashboard. And then we can manage that and we can monitor the APs that we've deployed across that specific network. And it is enterprise ready. It has bank grade TLS encryption from end to end. It has certificate-based authentication, and we have user data storage and also backup. We also monitor any changes in there. We record all those logs and likes as well. All right, so that gets us to the brief overview. Now we're going to run things a little bit differently today. We're going to run things a little bit differently today. So what I'm going to do